How do you fix this? First question on this episode came from my guy E9. He said, Ingraven, hope you and the fam are doing well, or at least better than the Ravens. As the season progresses, not only are we seeing the usual questionable coaching decisions, analytics, poor clock management, etc., that cost us 2 to 3 games a season, but now we are witnessing mental lapses on both sides of the ball consistently. Misassignments, overthrows, fumbles, drops, unnecessary penalties, and defensive breakdowns. With a loss to the Broncos as a real possibility, Cincy getting hot, Deshaun Watson coming back for the Browns, and the Steelers' Kenny Pickett getting more confident, the Ravens finishing at 9-8 or worse would not be a surprise. Even if he's not an X and O's guy, eventually Steve Bisciotti has to realize his team is losing, squandering opportunities on the field while the Super Bowl window is almost closed. If the Ravens do, in fact, blow the remainder of the season, what changes, if any, do you see Steve Bisciotti making moving forward? None. I mean, the most I could see them doing would be, maybe they fire Greg Roman. That's it, though. I would not foresee them making any significant changes. And then of course that article came out. I know Jeff put it out too about Greg Roman being a possible hire for one of the colleges. I forgot what college it was, but I don't see them really changing much. Yeah, they get a new offensive coordinator. Okay. All right, it'll still be the same philosophy. Oh, well, actually, you know what? I take that back. The biggest change that I can see the Ravens making would be them trading Lamar for some draft picks, because I do not think that they're going to sign him. I don't. And again, this is not reactionary based off of the way that the Jaguars game. Y'all know we've been on that. We've been saying that. I just don't. There was a point in time where this offseason, it was a training camp. It was when we was actually up there in Maryland, where I thought, because from the presser, it sounded like they were close to it. It sounded like they were so close to a deal. And then EDC and Harbaugh, they were watching. Was it Bisciotti and Harbaugh, or was it EDC and Harbaugh? I think it might have been Bisciotti and Harbaugh, as a matter of fact. They were watching Lamar speak. They were watching the presser from the little balcony. I'm like, they never do that and whatnot. And I was like, and the words that were being used by Lamar and Harbaugh when they spoke, I was like, hold up, are we close? And then when it came out, Lamar was like, hey, if we don't get a deal done by week 1, then we ain't talking no more. And then apparently all the stories came out. Oh, yeah, the Ravens, they offered him something. He turned it down, And after that, and as the season went on, I was just thinking, I just don't think this is going to get done. I don't think it's going to happen. I didn't see it happen. Because, again, if they weren't able to come to his terms before, they ain't going to be able to come to his terms later. What's going to change with the Ravens? And again, they just not investing in him like that. So that's something significant that I can see changing. But as far as if you're just talking about coaching staff, the most that I think would change would be that Greg Roman, that he got fired. Or, actually his contract getting ready to expire. So they wouldn't even have to fire him. They could be like, well, hey, G, thanks for everything, buddy. We wish you well on your future endeavor. We'll call it mutual, because we'll call it mutual, but we'll call it mutual though. But that's it. Harbaugh, I think Harbaugh is safe. I think that he is safe. Now, the only way I could see Harbaugh possibly, his cheeks starting to get a little hot on the hot seat, only way I could possibly see that is if Lamar was gone. So if Lamar was gone, then I think they would really start to actually look at Harbaugh at that point, because he wouldn't have that clutch anymore. He wouldn't have that savior anymore in Lamar Jackson. Because we all know the story from 2018, when Harbaugh's gonna be on the. We all know the story. But if Lamar's gone, Harbaugh's still here. It's like, oh, now you really got all eyes on you, and there would be less deflect. You could try to still deflect, but there would be a lot less deflecting that you could do. Because, yeah. But anyway, he said, remember, we have issues everywhere except in the kicking. He said, remember, we have issues everywhere except in the kicking game. So by changes, I'm talking about coaching staff as well as player personnel. Okay, I should have kept reading. But, we already answered that with both coaching staff changes that we expect and player personnel changes that we expect. So, again, Greg Roman, Lamar Jackson. Those are the ones that we expect to change. And he said, love to hear your thoughts and any suggestions you might have to fix this. We can only hope Steve is listening. Appreciate everything you do for Team Keep It Clean community. Keep up the great work. Appreciate you eating on it.
Yeah, this feels like a dream, and you know just what I mean. You see my boy, he like gotta made it. Boy, he's a fan and he like the Ravens, and you know just what I mean. You too, team, keep it clean. You see my boy, he like gotta made it. Boy, that's my homie, ain't that right engraving.
Team Keep It Clean, welcome to another episode of Questions from Subs, where you can ask any question you want to, whether it's about the Ravens or not, and we answer in a video just like this. If you want to be a part of it, you know where to send it. If you want to become a Team Keep It Clean patron, go to patreon.com/Ingravenvids. If you want to become a Team Keep It Channel Member, to where you got the nice little pretty star next to your name in the comment section, then you can click on the join button. And now all the stuff is down below in the description. If you ever want to send anything to the P.O. Box, that's also down below in the description. Check out the description, because look, a couple of goodies in there and whatnot. But anyway, next question came from T-Dog. He said, Ingraven, this T-Dog. I've been a fan of the Ravens since they first started, so I'm definitely big on tradition, but at this point in time, I feel like some type of change should be made. Now, I don't know if this is a Harbaugh thing or the Casa thing. Maybe it's just a Ravens organization as a whole thing, but do you think the Ravens are living in the past too much? And what I mean, yes. He ain't even got to explain what you mean, but yes. But anyway, do you think the Ravens are living in the past too much? And what I mean, is it true that they want to build from the inside out? But what's concerning is the old birds ain't learning new tricks. I've watched the Seahawks create a dynasty for a few years, taking a page from the Ravens defense. I've watched the Bills take a few pages out of Ravens book, and they are now the most feared defense in the AFC. Even the 49ers was like that for a short time, but since Ray Lewis left, instead of trying to build a bully, it's as if they want to put a collar on players instead. You can't have vocal leaders anymore. No player can have too much power no more, but that's what made our defense legendary. It was the trust from Steve all the way down to the star players that sprinkled in. Now that the defense is watered down in personality, that hurt right there. That hurt right there. I mean, but you think about, like, I feel like the only way you can go is down from all the personality that the defense used to have. Like Ray Lewis, Avery, Terrell Suggs, Bart Scott, Kerry Williams. Like, you can only go down. And that's not, did I say Terrell Suggs? I think I said Terrell Suggs. And that's not even necessarily a bad thing, but it's like impossible to match all of that energy that you had before with all of those guys. Like, oof. But anyway, he said, now that the defense is watered down in personality, they expect the defense to carry the offense. And mentally, this defense is nowhere even close to the level of the 2000 Ravens or any defense with Ray and them boys on there. Ray expected the run game to be shut down every week. Not only him, but the other 10 guys did too. This team doesn't have any goals or expectations outside of trying to win a Super Bowl, but they're not focused. I don't think we can say they don't have goals. We just don't really know what they are. I mean, when they say that in the press, they say, oh, yeah, we got the first thing to stop the run game. But we don't really know what their goals are that they got behind the scenes. So I don't think it's fair to say that part. He said the offense is pitiful. The offense is pitiful. They don't know how to infuse talent or use the players to their strengths. It doesn't help that Lamar is limited in his passing tree, or he doesn't trust himself to make average throws that journeymans can make, like Josh Johnson, for example. Lamar favors one side of the field. Everything is either going to be deep or to a tight end. No hooks, no slants, no ins, no outs, no jump balls, no back shoulder to wide receivers. This, to be honest, if I was Mark Andrews, I wouldn't be able to stare the wide receivers in the face when I'm in huddle, knowing that 90% of the time I'm doing their job and the wide receivers are forced to do mine. Oof. So to make a long story short, this defense is not equipped to take on the problems of John, Eric, Lamar, and Greg Roman. Eric needs to realize how we won our second Super Bowl with wide receivers. John needs to lose his ego so Eric can build a bully. Stop worrying about the locker room from culture. It's been here before you. Greg Roman, out of here. And Lamar, they need to hire his offseason quarterback coach so he can get back to the basic fundamentals with wide receivers. He needs to give his receivers more opportunities while we have this week's schedule. That's all I have for now. You said that's all you have for now. Like, that was like a little bit of something. But yeah, that's they need to hire his offseason quarterback coach for what? He's gone. Well, in my opinion. But like, so yeah. Anyway, yeah, this was certainly a lot. You covered a lot. You covered coaching, you covered offense, you covered defense, you covered Lamar specifically, you covered G-Roll, you covered a lot. This defense is obviously not 2000s, no defense is, and it's not going to be, not in this day and age of the NFL. It's impossible. The rules are just so much different. As far as Lamar, you talk about how he's limited with his passing. I don't think he's limited with his passing, but I think the Ravens passing is limited in Lamar. I really do. He ain't perfect now. He sure ain't perfect, But I think just the way they do things is limiting him. Like I've continued to say it, I don't think he will ever be maximized with these Baltimore Ravens, ever. His potential will never be reached with this team the way that they operate. They won't. Now, as far as them living in the past, I think that's true in a couple of different ways. As far as the way that they try to run their offense, the way they try to build a team. Having a run game is great. Having great defense is great. I love both of those things. But they don't care about the passing game like that. They don't care about it like that. So it shows. It shows. All the money that they put into the defense, it shows. Well, I mean, sometimes it don't show because they don't be clutch sometimes. But the way that they build a team, it shows that it's old school football. And you living in an old school football world, it's going to keep on passing you by. He didn't gym in the draft. Next question came from my guy, Caden. He said, hey, Ingraven, hope all is well with you and your fam, but I think I have found a hidden wide receiver star in the draft, Justin Shorter. All right, by the last name, I'm a little scared that he might be on the small side, but he said he's a wide receiver, big body. Oh, okay, big body. So he got like an ironic kind of name. His name is Shorter, but he got a big body. Okay, anyway, he'll go up and get it type of wide receiver. He has speed as well. When I see him play, I instantly think of A.J. Brown. Just a suggestion to check him out. What are your thoughts? Hey, I ain't get there yet to where we start looking at receivers and stuff, because you know we're going to be looking at receivers and stuff, but I ain't get there yet to that point in the season. Well, really the off season. That's when we start. It's a little too early for me, but I'm going to keep him in mind. Appreciate you. Next question came from my guy, Daryl. He said, how you and the family doing? Hey, we doing really good. I appreciate you. He said, I watched this game Sunday, but how come Giro never does any fullback drives in the red zone? No one wants to tackle a 300-pound ball runner. We gave up too many points in the red zone. What are your thoughts? Well, my friend, I think the Ravens, they like using Patrick Ricard as everything except a fullback. So that's why. Next question came from my guy, Quentin. He said, if the Baltimore Ravens philosophy is run first, play great defense, then why wouldn't they sign somebody like Lamar Jackson? He is one of the best to ever do it at the quarterback position, running the football. They don't pay wide receivers, so why not pay the guy that you can never replace? Because if that's your strategy to run first, then you can go find another running quarterback. No, they ain't going to be able to do it like Lamar. We know that, but you can go find another quarterback, and you can spend so much less money and then have more money to get more tight ends, more fullbacks, more running backs, more offensive linemen, and more defense. Next question came from my guy, Jason. He said, Ingraven, this is my first question from Subs, but I've been lurking for the past year and a half. The state of this year's Ravens really brings out the depths. Oh, brings us out of the depths, LOL. My grandpa and I were talking for about an hour after the game this week, and we both agreed the play calling was El Terrible. Well, I put El Terrible. He said terrible. But anyway, he said Duvernay involved early, but disappeared. Screens to a fullback. Might as well throw it to Linderbaum. Sliding the O-line away from the blitz. Trying to run QB sneaks off tackle. Oh, yeah, that was ugly. And just being too predictable. If you watch the Ravens every week, you can almost guess correctly every play they're about to run. If we can do that with full-time jobs, what do you think opposing defensive coordinators can do? Roman needs to go before we lose Lamar because of him. Maybe too late. But anyway, he said, I am a young football coach for my local high school team, and it is really disappointing to watch a professional team with no flair at all. Real quick, our defense is stacked with players, but we run basic coverages. When you run cover 2 with a slow corner and a safety, Peters and Clark, the honey hole is wide open. It's the weak spot. We have to do a better job mixing coverages and disguising our looks on defense. We missed Hamilton this week, and Steven stunk this week. Two things can be true. So here's my question to you. Would you rather have Lamar for the next 10 years or Justin Tucker never miss a kick again? I appreciate everything you do for the Ravens community. Much love. I hope that the family is doing great and you're getting ready for the season. Appreciate it, man. Would I rather have Lamar for the next 10 years or Justin Tucker never miss a kick again? Lamar. Reason being because Justin Tucker, he can go out there and he can kick 1,000 kicks and he can make 999 of them. And I would still be able to pretty much have both. This question came from my guy, Justin. He said, what's up, Ingraven? How you and the fam doing? We are great. Hope you and the fam doing even better. He said, Kyle Hamilton was missed yesterday. Do you think how Brandon Stevens played, you think they're going to rush Kyle and Marcus Williams back? And maybe David Ajabo so Adafe can get his spirit back in the game. They got to do something. That's some good questions, though. Maybe with Brandon Stevens play, maybe they have some thoughts about Pepe Williams. Maybe they do. Demarion Williams, maybe. And with Kyle, you can't rush him. I know Brandon Stevens was rough, but you can't rush him. You cannot rush him because, I mean, you want him back as soon as possible, but at the same time, it's a long-term investment. That's a first-round pick. This season is very important. There's a lot going on this season, obviously, and it's going to be a crazy off-season. But you want Kyle Hamilton to be good for the long haul, and he'll be back eventually, but I don't think you rush it. Next question came from my guy Sebastian. He said, man, why are we running Drewski screens on 2nd and 14, then run 5 wide the next play, and still have Ricard running in routes? 49ers don't even use juice like that, and they're creative. Even broadcasters know it. They say it's very hard for Lamar Jackson to throw because the Ravens only have 2 wide receivers and 1 tight end running routes. That's 3 players being guarded by 7 and sometimes 8 Jaguars because they sometimes only rush 3 and pull 1 to cover. You think Bisciotti is too afraid to let go of his old ways? You think Harbaugh has too much power over Steve? What? No. Harbaugh ain't got no power over Steve Bisciotti. Oh, no. Don't get it twisted, my friend. Steve Bisciotti is the owner. He ain't a GM. He ain't a coach. He is an owner. So he got all the power over all of them. But anyway, he said, why is his job, Harbaugh's job, not on fire right now? And I ain't even going to ask about the guy in the booth. Also, by Lamar, it was a nice 5 years of being relevant again. Yes, it certainly was. Shout out to Lamar Jackson. Again, I hope Lamar stayed, but I don't see it at all. I don't see it at all. But anyway, yeah, I think the Ravens are just too afraid to let go of their old ways. It's just a collective thing. And until that happens, I don't see like any like true advancement for them. I just see a lot of the same old regular season. Oh yeah. But postseason playoffs, all that. I just can't see it right now, man. I just can't see it. I would love to be wrong. I would love to, but I just can't see it, man. Does the front office really care? Next question came from Juan. He said, hey, what's up, Ingraven? Hope everything is good. I hope I make this week's list for question by subscribers for the week. By the time you get in this email, oh, yeah, he knows we on CPT time. But anyway, he said, I wanted to know, what would you do if you were the owner or the GM of the Baltimore Ravens, knowing the problems and issues that we have, because it seems like the front office doesn't care. They're okay with mediocrity. They won't make coaching changes, won't spend money on the offensive side of the ball. They basically gave all the money to the defensive side of the ball, only for them to give away leads in the fourth quarter. And Lamar is basically stuck with the leftovers. Yes, Lamar has to play better, but honestly, if he don't have the help other than Andrews, what else can he do? And you can sense the frustration is really growing. I fear this might be his last year with us. I'm not sure, but it's a possibility. And if it is, I would like to say thank you to Lamar Jackson for everything you did in your short time. Wow, a lot of people on the same page. A lot of people on the same page. A lot of people like, hey, thank you, Lamar, for everything. Thank you. We appreciate it. Thank you. So, hey, we're going to see. He said, oh, one last thing. ESPN to say that Lamar was being anti-homophobic for tweeting what he said to that fan is really pushing it. Now, obviously, you don't want your star quarterback to say things like that, but while you're being the trending topic or overly criticized at everything you do, you're going to have one of those moments where you're going to lash out and defend yourself. But because it's Lamar, all these sports network shows are going to make it more than what it is. But I know if it was Burrow, Herbert, Allen, etc., nobody would feel like that. Anyway, sorry for the long email. As always, team, keep it clean. Yeah, like I said before, man, he's in a real tough position. But he's pretty much for the most part, he's dealt with it really good. Because obviously he got people like coming at him every single day. Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, this, that, ESPN, NFL Network. People coming at him every single. That's a lot to deal with. But for the position you're in, oh man, it takes like extra work to like just not to go off on people. And it is tough. But you can't. But anyway, as far as the front, what would I do? That was the question. What would I do if I was the GM or the owner of the Ravens? I would invest on the offensive side of the ball. I would really go out and try to go get that guy. No, you know what? Not even try. Go get it. Really make it happen. Because that's something like we could have all these conversations. I was just talking to one of my guys because he would say, hey, because a lot of people have been saying the same thing. Hey, see, Lamar, he don't deserve that fully guaranteed contract. He don't deserve it. Look at him. Look at what he's doing with these receivers. He don't deserve it. But I said, look, everybody entitled to their own opinion, which is cool. I disagree, but we have never and with the Ravens probably will never, seen Lamar with like a fire wide receiver group like that. Not every wide receiver gonna be great. Don't expect that. But for him to have a great guy and a good guy and then some average guys after that. Like to have that guy and then another guy that's like ascending and not even necessarily another that guy, but somebody who can be a nice guy. We haven't got to see it. And we never will. That's why I keep saying we won't ever see Lamar's true potential with this team. Because the way that they don't move like that for their quarterbacks. And they've had a franchise quarterback. But Lamar Jackson is not the first franchise quarterback that the Baltimore Ravens have had. It's Joe Flacco. You saw how they moved for him. And that's why this whole thing with Lamar is like, it's not surprising, but at the same time, it is surprising because it's like, man, especially after 2019, it's like, look what he did with who he did it with. And then for y'all to still just be so chill about everything on the offensive side of the ball, it's like, man, come on now, man. So that's what I would invest in offense. Still continue investing in the offensive line, but invest in the wide receiver position. I would move off from Greg Roman. And with Harbaugh, I would tell, like, look, the players love you. They love Harbaugh. They really do. But I would tell him, like, look, if you're going to run the same philosophy, you got to go too. You got to go. But if you're willing to update and upgrade things, then you can stay. And I'd be like, you know what? I'll pick the offensive coordinator. You don't pick the offense. I'll pick the offensive coordinator. But if Harbaugh was like, hey, I'm trying to hire my cousin. All right, Hobbs, you got to go. I love you. Thank you for everything. Ain't no ill will. Ain't no bad blood. I say, look, man. I may just end up doing that anyway. And again, it's not a shot at Hobbs or nothing like that. But it just seemed like he may have run his course. And this is not even just because they lost to the Jaguars. No, this is just how things have been. Seemed like he ran his course, and it's just really time for a big update to the Ravens. It's like they're like an old iPhone. They're like an old iPhone. And somebody trying to run with that same old operating system, they're wondering like, hey, how come I can't see the emojis that everybody's sending? I can't see the emojis. It's just like this weird picture that comes up when somebody sends me these emojis. I don't know what they are. I don't know what you're sending. Can you screenshot and send it to me? And the person is like, hey, you need to update your settings.
Yeah, this feels like a dream.